Friday webinar series. As you know that EGROW Foundation is a research-based policy think tank in Delhi, and our objective is providing policy advice to all the stakeholders, and not just providing policy advice based on hearsay or casual observations or for pink papers. It is basically research-based policy advice that we are always aiming at, and we are providing it also. We have been very fortunate. We have done this for the Government of India, various ministries, UNSCAP, and various other stakeholders. You also are aware that we have been very fortunate over the years. We have brought in a blend of Indian and foreign scholars on very many contemporary issues. We have had the privilege of hosting series under the G20 when India was holding the presidency. We have had Nobel laureates come and speak at this forum. We have always taken up major contemporary challenges which the country is facing. Today is the fifth lecture, fifth webinar on Punjab. We took over the discussion on Punjab because we felt Punjab is a classic case, a case study on how a state can go wrong. We were number one just about 20 years ago. And today, we do not know where the bottom is. Every year, when the per capita income and national income is computed, we slip one rank below. So we wanted to analyze in depth what's wrong with Punjab. We have been successful to a great extent over the 4 sessions that we dedicated to agriculture, industry, MSMEs, and services. Today is the final one dedicated exclusively on Punjab, where we have 3 experts coming and speaking to us. Next week onwards, we are going to have 5 dedicated webinars on the states which have been very successful in their own growth. So we will have Haryana, our neighbor. We will have Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. We will have Gujarat. So we will look into what is it that contributed to their growth. Whatever that we are discussing, we aim to send it to both the government and Government of India in Delhi and to the Punjab government. So we are doing all this exercise with clear purpose in mind. We can make a contribution in policy making. Now we were worried who would be the experts who can come and speak today. So we had to zero down very carefully. We had to balance the experience and exposure. And we decided to chair the session today. We'll request Professor Upinder to come and speak to us and tell us about the Punjab economy. Professor Sahwney has a distinguished record. She is an economist and former professor at Punjab University, Chandigarh. She served as chair of the Department of Economics from 2007 to 2010 and then 2016 to 2019, and has extensively published in Indian economic public policy journals, not only domestic, but even internationally. She has worked and published on India. She has led various international and domestic projects, including the Government of India scheme for promotion of academic and research collaboration with Copenhagen Business School, Denmark. And she has published a study on macroeconomic effects of aging in India, lessons from European Union. I think that's a very important study, and India, we need to now take that into record and work on it. And a World Bank sponsored budgetary analysis at the state level 2004 and 5. She has contributed to various committees such as the 14th Finance Commission and the Regional Direct Taxes Advisory Committee. She has been involved in various advisory and editorial roles in multiple academic journals and boards of studies. She was a visiting scholar at Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy, National University of Singapore, and supervised and hosted a Fulbright Fellow from the University of Florida. Her accolades include the DAED UGC Fellowship and the Fulbright Nehru Fellowship. We have then Professor Ghuman, Ranjit Singh Ghuman. He's a professor of eminence at Guru Nanak Dev University now. He previously served as a professor at the Center for Research in Rural and Industrial Development in Chandigarh and Punjabi University, Patiala. His academic expertise includes advanced economic theory, international economics, development economics, and the global economy. Professor Ghuman has presented at EGROW a very extensive study, which he did, I think, with ICSSR on drugs, which had many important recommendations and important findings. His other research interests encompass the economics of water, again, very important for Punjab, addiction in India. Our second speaker for the day is Professor Sandeep Kaur. She is a professor in the Department of Economic Studies at Central University of Punjab, Bathinda. Her research and teaching cover international economics, environmental degradation in agriculture, and social innovation and entrepreneurship. She has guided at that young age several PhD students and MPhil theses. Even currently, 7 PhD scholars are working right under her mentorship. She is leading the SERB DST project, re-examining the socio-economic externalities of groundwater depletion in central Punjab. Due for completion in June 2025, her research includes the gravity model of trade and the externalities of environmental degradation in agriculture. She has published extensively in prestigious journals and participated in international conferences in Denmark, Canada, Bangladesh, Cameroon. She has completed 7 research projects on diverse issues, and this is most important, received Central University of Punjab's Outstanding Researcher Award in Humanities and Social Sciences for 2018-19, 2021-22, and 22-23. So we tried at EGROW to bring a blend of rich experience and a professor who has worked on the most important issue that is in minds of all of us, addiction and drug abuse, and a young scholar who has been working on Punjab. With this, I hand over the session to Professor Upinder Sahwney to conduct the proceedings further. Professor Sahwney.
Thank you, Dr. Saran Singh. You have been overly kind with your words while introducing me, and I must put the record straight that I have the study on aging has not yet been published. I was not very sure whether I'm chairing the session or I'm a part of the panel. So will you please tell me whether I should be making a presentation or I should straight away request the other 2 presenters to make a presentation?
Professor, I heard in my introduction and sense, I wanted you to also spend time talking about Punjab because you have worked
Okay.
so extensively on various committees of Punjab. So I wanted you to give the
Okay.
overall public finance story. And then Professor
Okay.
Ghuman, of course, has his expertise on addiction and drugs and water.
Yeah.
And then Professor
Mhm.
Sandeep has own expertise. So I would like you to
Oh,
spend easily 20 odd minutes before you hand over the
okay.
session to the other two. And
Okay.
at
Thank
the
you.
end,
Thank you so much.
at the end, I would like to have about 10 minutes of question answer session.
Sure.
Thank
As already told by Dr. Charan Singh, that they've already had 4 sessions on Punjab. So I understand that most of the various sectors of Punjab have already been discussed in at length. However, I would like to take a slightly different stance. As he just said, I'll be talking about an overall scenario of me and not be talking too much about data, but just to give you a sense that how things have gone wrong and what has gone wrong. Now, as he's rightly mentioned, that we were once the numero uno state of India, and we started losing our glory since 2004-5. and our rank in terms of per capita income started slipping. Now, I would also like to mention here that Professor R.S. Ghuman and other professors from Punjab University have been, putting forward a lot of suggestions and public policy, findings for the benefit of the government of Punjab to reverse the situation over the last 2 decades. But unfortunately, the things have not really been taken care of the way they should have been. Having said that, I would like to state here that Punjab is a state which has withstood challenges far more than its size in terms of area and population. Punjab shares a 553-kilometer long border with Pakistan, which is in constant friction with India. Unlike some of the other border states, there's a fairly high population, nearly 29% in the border districts of Amritsar, Gurdaspur, Tarantaran, and Firozpur. People are engaged in regular economic activities along the border under acute uncertainty and vulnerability. The absence of trade at Atari-Wagah border is resulting in a colossal economic loss to the state. The employment opportunities that could be created with the resumption of trade, as also investment in logistics and other multiplier effects, are being frittered away for no fault of the state. Bore the brunt of 2 wars with Pakistan and a decade-long war against terrorism. Yet Punjab emerged strong. The immediate period after and during terrorism, we were going very strong and we were at number 1. The long-term impact has been flight of capital, deindustrialization of the state, and the debt of maintaining paramilitary forces. Another locational disadvantage is its proximity to Himachal Pradesh, which competed away the investment due to its special category status for a long time, leading to low rate of investment. Nearly 32% of the population of Punjab belongs to the scheduled caste category, as against 16.6% for the country. Punjab accounts for 2.3% of the total population and 4.3% of SC population of India. Therefore, there is a greater need for welfare expenditure in this state. Environmental degradation and related impact on the economy has been a result of feeding the nation and help attain self-sufficiency in food. I was in a meeting with the 16th Finance Commission recently in Delhi, and after having made a case for Punjab, somebody commented that we've seen a Punjabi begging for something for the first time. And so I had to tell them that the state at which we are today, partially the result is that we have been too generous with helping the nation attain food self-sufficiency and also defending the borders. So there is a greater need for A-class agri infrastructure, which has crumbled over the years. A renewed need for R&D in agriculture can't be overemphasized, as the state will not be able to sustain half a century old practices. Despite all these factors, which must not be ignored, there is no justification for the burgeoning public debt of the state on account of populist policies since 1998, when farmers were given free power for the first time. Kautilya is as relevant today as he was when he underlined the importance of fiscal prudence in Arthashastra and said, "A king with depleted treasury eats into the very vitality of the citizens and the country. Besides transparency, accountability, and efficiency, a prerequisite for good governance is the fiscal capacity of the state. The capacity is severely limited if there is fiscal instability, stress, and huge debt burden. The major political parties in Punjab have promised the citizens freebies galore if voted to power. This populist and vote bank politics has spelt doom for Punjab in the last 2.5 decades. The fiscal position of the government of Punjab is not conducive for any development expenditure at the moment because of its high level of committed expenditure and contingent liabilities. The state requires massive public funding in order to attract private investment for rejuvenation of the state economy. A state with nearly 3.74 lakh crores of debt cannot deliver the basic services to the citizens. It is high time that we stop basking in our past glory and lamenting about the locational disadvantage, a decade-long civil strife and consequent buildup of debt. The governments of Punjab have tried all possible ways of getting assistance from the center and have failed. Punjab finances are afflicted both by structural problems and problems of cash flow management. Even though fiscal reforms have been a part of public policy of Punjab, those have been attempted only half-heartedly. We were one of the earliest states to have enacted the Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act in 2004. It should be remembered that large fiscal deficits have a variety of adverse consequences for the economy. They reduce economic growth, lower real incomes, and increase the risk of financial and economic crisis. The most glaring issues responsible for accumulation of debt are the fiscal profligacy with respect to running the oversized government machinery and hugely subsidized and loss-making power sector of the state. So even today, power is free for up to 300 units in the state. Now, it has wide ramifications, and which, of course, I do not have the time to discuss here, but I'm going to talk about the other problems here. Power subsidies account for more than 95% of all subsidies in the state, and committed expenditure on interest payments, salaries, pensions, and administrative expenses eats away more than 3/4 of state's own revenue. The proportion of capital expenditure to total expenditure is extremely low in Punjab, underlining the fact that development in the state is suffering at the cost of populism. Public investment in agriculture and maintenance of infrastructure created during the Green Revolution period is almost negligible, which is taking its toll on the productivity of this sector. The reality of the state of Punjab is harsh, but not being acknowledged by the state polity across party lines. However, while making a case for Punjab with the 16th Finance Commission, I tried to put forward a few arguments for recommending a special package for a one-time settlement grant for Punjab. Punjab may have a tremendous setback in comparison to its performance 2 decades ago, but is still not the worst performing state. State's own tax revenue as a proportion of overall tax revenue shows that Punjab has been making efforts to mobilize its own resources. So in 2000, from 2015-16 to 17-18, all India state's own revenue as a proportion of, for all states, overall tax revenue was 62.8%, and in Punjab it was 75.6%. 21-22 to 22-23, it has declined, but it is still above the all India average. States with a higher share of agriculture in gross value added have lower tax capacity. The compound annual growth rate of outstanding liabilities of the state government from 2001 to 2021-22 for all states was 12.23 and 11.14 for Punjab. So it's not very far from the average, but still, yeah, of course, we need to do a lot. The funds that flow to the states as centrally sponsored schemes are often cited to supplement tax devolution. Transfers to the states through this route have increased from 14.56% of the gross revenue receipts of the center in 21-22 to 16.11% in 24-25. This is not a desirable trend. Centrally sponsored schemes require matching grants, where the states with lower fiscal capacity cannot match. Hence, they are not in a position to utilize the funds. Many of these schemes are formulated by the union government with rigid guidelines without accounting for state-specific needs and priorities. For example, I'll just give you an example with respect to Punjab, that the scheme for decentralized agricultural solarization under PM Kusum, while well-intentioned as a concept, has a specific rule that limits the maximum capacity of pump sets to 7.5 horsepower. This excludes 80% of the farmers in Punjab, most of whom are using motors which are in the range of 10 to 20 horsepower. Also, centrally sponsored schemes deal with subjects listed in the state list or the concurrent list. For example, all the funds under the Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana and other similar agricultural schemes, which is a state subject, necessitate state expenditure on agricultural schemes defined by the center rather than Punjab, getting the flexibility to deploy them as needed given the extremely unique needs of the state and its critical contribution to national food security. We all are aware that there is an element of discretion in the allocation of CSS. These must be avoided and the funds which are objectively allocated, like the devolutions recommended by the Finance Commission, must be enhanced. The CSS related to the union list shouldn't have a requirement of matching grants. Those related to state subjects must be completely untied. In the horizontal devolution to the states, appropriate weights must be assigned to the Sustainable Development Goals and Human Development Indices. States with better indices be given greater share. In view of the deepening farm crisis and for strengthening 50-year-old agri infrastructure, as also to invest in agricultural R&D for diversification, the state of Punjab needs special grants. The issue of unsustainable public debt of the state can only be resolved if one-time settlement is carried out subject to conditionalities. So what I have suggested is that, for example, let's say the Finance Commission makes a recommendation to the Government of India to restructure the debt of Punjab, subject to the withdrawal of free power to the household sector or such other subsidies. This probably will make it politically easier for the government of Punjab to withdraw untargeted subsidies. If the country could be brought out of a critical economic situation in 1991, I see no reason that the uh, state of Punjab cannot be bailed out from this precarious situation. Actually, it's not only the state of Punjab which lacks the will to set its house in order, which is, of course, the most important thing to do, but over a period of time, even the central government has shied away from its responsibility of taking care of this border state and the state which has almost emptied its resources for food security. The most of the environmental issues that have arisen in the state are because of providing food security to the state. Having said that, the responsibility for turning around the economy of Punjab rests with Government of Punjab. The economic policy of Punjab must adhere to the principles of transparency, effectiveness, and accountability. There is a lot to be desired in this area. All subsidies must be transparent and targeted and through cash benefit transfers. General subsidies do not reach for whom they are meant. Free power and loan waivers will spell doom for the state. Improving the quality of expenditure is a must by curtailing non-development expenditure and increasing developmental expenditure. Reduction of committed and frivolous administrative expenditure is important by optimizing the size of the government. Effective power sector reforms, which will disengage a lot of funds for development, are locked up in the form of guarantees and losses. Unbundling of PSEB, Punjab State Electricity Board, is only notional and has not served the purpose of reducing the burden on the public exchequer. It's still working like a government department. Improving the non-tax revenue of the state by levy of user charges on public utilities, as also restructuring the state level public enterprises. It's very important to restructure these state level public enterprises because they are giving a negligible return on investment, but are a huge burden on the exchequer. A rigorous review of all those entities is necessary, and a concrete action must be taken to wind up loss-making enterprises or merge similar ones. Some of these are duplicating the functions of the government departments. In fact, most of these are duplicating the functions of the government departments. Such entities may be wound up or merged with the respective departments. Punjab has been underutilizing the funds received under the centrally sponsored schemes, thereby wasting resources which could help improve the state infrastructure. Every penny received from the center must be utilized effectively. However, what I have explained earlier, that if the center is imposing such restrictions where Punjab does not fit in or which are not conducive for Punjab, Punjab cannot be blamed for not utilizing the funds. And also wherever the matching grants are required, again, a state which is fiscally fragile cannot be expected to do that. Until and unless the government of Punjab takes concrete steps to revitalize the economy of Punjab, further slide is imminent. So what I have tried to put forward is that there are two aspects of the problem of Punjab. One is the problem created by the state itself. Across party lines, all the governments have really been playing with the future of Punjab and have not thought about that how things are going to become better. On the other side, the central governments have not been very have not been very kind towards Punjab, even though it has had a lot of responsible position in various aspects of holding the national position, like the border state and also the state which is contributing the maximum to the food bowl of the country. So both aspects need to be looked into. Both governments have to take the responsibility, even though the responsibility of the government of Punjab is much more. Here, I would also like to mention that when in the meeting with the 16th Finance Commission, it was also pointed out that why is there no social unrest in Punjab despite such dismal conditions at the public level? The reason, to my mind, of course, Professor Ghuman will have a better insight into it. He has dwelt into such issues more than I have. To my mind, the social aspect of it is that an average Punjabi is far well off, even today, than an average person of another state. Therefore, this kind of an uprise is quite far off from where we are today, but we still have to deal with the emerging situation because it's become extremely critical. Thank you so much. I hope that I have not taken away the time from the two learned speakers. Now I request Professor Ghuman to share his thoughts with us on the situation in Punjab.
Thank you, Chair, and Professor Charan Singh for giving me this opportunity and having a webinar on a very important state, though a small state, but very important state from the standpoint of national security. Professor Sahwney has very well brought in and factored in what and where what went wrong with the Punjab economy and where we went wrong and how can it be corrected. Having said that, I would like to switch over to what I wish to present, and I wish to draw your attention to the historical context of Punjab. It will be more or less a supplement to what Professor Sahwney has said. The first slide, which I wish to share with you. Next, please. Yeah. Punjab in historical perspective, partition and independence. In fact, we will have to factor in when we discuss overall Punjab, we will have to factor in what Punjab was and what Punjab is and what Punjab is going to be. In 1901, five frontier districts were separated from Punjab. And in 1911, Delhi was separated from Punjab. Delhi was part of Punjab. And then there was a Punjab province, which included British territories and princely states. And then total area of Punjab at that time was 3,57,692 square kilometers, which is now very, very small area with the present Punjab. And total population of that Punjab was 33.92 billion. Punjab was again partitioned on 1st November 1966, and it has now an area of 50,362 square kilometers, 1.53% of India's total area. Now, you see, this is what from where we started and where we have reached. This is in brief. Next slide, please. Then the story starts with sorrow and joy. Istaq Ahmed's book, The Punjab Bloodied, Partitioned and Cleansed, is an eye-opener on that. and it gives religious composition of that Punjab, how Punjab was partitioned, what were the forces who put forward Punjab's division, and how it was bloodied, partitioned, and cleansed. He says that it is more or less the genocide which has taken place in that during that period, from particularly August 1947 to December 1947. And it was no less than triumph of political entrepreneurship, manures and evil spirits which have played havoc with that Punjab. And between 5 to 8 lakh persons were brutally murdered in Punjab. In, um, in India, the figure was 10 lakh. And 10 million people of Punjab were forced to cross over the border during that period. 19,000 were abducted by men of the enemy religion, and thousands of women were raped and murdered. Then bigotry, fanaticism, hate, rumor, all that went in that period, and it jeopardized the socio-cultural and politico-economic life of Punjab. Next, please. Having said that, this is how Punjab again emerged. Sectoral composition of GSDP and employment. Sectoral composition of Punjab's GSDP brings forth that Punjab, in fact, uh, uh, has transformed along the long-term dynamics of growth of Simon Kuznets and Keller. And if you look at the primary sector share in GSDP dropped from 57% in 70-71 to 27% now, and that of secondary sector and the tertiary sector, it has increased over the period of time, and now we have almost 32% share of primary sector and 23% share of secondary sector and 46% share of tertiary sector. As far as share of employment is concerned, it is, and if we compare it with the share of GSDP, it is almost a balanced picture which we get from it. If we compare it with India, Punjab is much better in terms of share of employment in agriculture, industry, services, and uh, uh, as compared to India. Next, please. Now, then we start with post-independence Punjab economy, pre and post-Green Revolution. Now, in 1966, Punjab was reorganized, and in the same year, there was advent of Green Revolution, and there was prosperity, debt, and suicides, which went along side by side. And it reminds me M.L. Darling's 1925 book, where he says Punjab, peasantry in debt and prosperity. Green Revolution brought remarkable increase in yield, and as said rightly by Professor Sahwney, that it transformed food deficient India to food surplus India. And it transformed the scenario from ship to mouth to food self-sufficiency and now food surplus state. And then what Punjab has lost over for all this, we are virtually are exporting our water. 80% to 85% of water used in paddy is used by rice contribution to center pool. This is a very, very high figure which we export, virtual export of water. And then transition from diversified agriculture to wheat paddy crop rotation, leading to water table depletion, deterioration of soil health, deforestation, and water and air pollution, problem of paddy straw, etc., etc. So all this has played havoc with what Of course, Green Revolution brought prosperity for Punjab in general and Punjabi farmer in particular, but it has played with the soil health and water availability in the state. Uh, Over the period of time, irrigation intensity increased from 54% to 100%, and cropping intensity from 140 to 190, whereas the rest of India's irrigation intensity is below 50% and cropping intensity is below 150%. Now, you see, if we don't focus on agriculture and we don't focus on diversification of agriculture, these problems are going to be from bad to worse. But at the same time, central government is sermonizing Punjab that you should diversify without bringing in the enabling policy environment with which paddy was promoted. Then over mechanization is another problem with Punjab. Uh, Tube wells, number of tube wells, but increased, multiple tractors number is there. Fertilizer consumption is highest in the state per hectare. Pesticide is highest per hectare in the state, and insecticide is highest per hectare in the state. Upinder has talked in detail about the electricity consumption in agriculture. It is marvelous, mind-boggling increase. 463 million kilowatt in 1970-71 to 13,763 million kilowatts in 2022-23. Electricity subsidy rose from 900 crore in 2002-3 to now roughly 8,000 crore in 2022-23. More than 20,000 farmers and farm laborers have committed suicide since 2000s onward, and this is on record. A study commissioned by the government of Punjab and conducted by the universities of Punjab. Next, please. Now, post Green Revolution Punjab economy. Professor Charan Singh was talking of what went wrong with the top performing state. In fact, there is transition from top performing to lagging economy now. Now, lower than national growth. Punjab's growth rate is lower than national growth since 1990s. From 1977 to 1992, Punjab growth rate remained higher than the national average, but during 1992 to 2017, its growth rate remained below the national average. Amongst 17 major states, Punjab's rank in terms of growth varied between 13th to 17th rank during 1990 to 2018, and now it is 11th rank. For 30 years, from 1992 onwards, agricultural growth remained below the national average. This is something which is not digestible and beyond comprehension. Then during 1980-2019, Punjab's secondary sector's growth rate remained below the national average for 20 years. Tertiary sector growth rate remained below the national average over the last 40 years. In terms of per capita income, Punjab lost its first position to Maharashtra in 1995 and remained at 11th rank during 2011-19 and further slided down to 13th position in 2021 among the major states. As per triennium year-ending average, Punjab's per capita GSDP ratio, Punjab stood first in 2001-2, but now it is 18th. It is ninth among the 18 major states. It necessitates an informed public discourse on the politico-economic policies practiced by the state over the last 40 years. Shift in states' orientation from development to law and order. Now, this is very, very important, which must be factored in whenever we talk of Punjab's deceleration or lagging economy. During the decade of militancy and its lagged effect on economic development, which was visible in 2000s, decade of 2000s and thereafter, then government's denial mode and irrational competitive political populism seems to be the main reasons for such a scenario. Limited translation of gains in agriculture sector in non-agriculture sector is another important factor. Then all this, what were the consequences and causes of this? Investment deficiency. All this has led to investment deficiency, slow growth rate, rising public debt, adverse impact on governance, high unemployment, large-scale immigration, and drug menace. Next, please. Next slide, please. What led to Punjab's lagging growth rate? It gives a very interesting picture. Declining percentage share of development expenditure and budgetary expenditure on revenue account in Punjab. It was 72% in 1980-81. Now we are having nearly 44% in 2010-11 and now 51.49%. Investment deficiency, declining investment GSDP ratio. Punjab had 30.22% in 1995-96. It declined to 19.87 in 96-97 and remained between 15 to 19% thereafter. It oscillated between 13 to 14% now. So you can see when countries' investment GDP ratio was rising, Punjab's investment GDP ratio was declining. Then lower per capita capital expenditure. Punjab has 14th rank in 2011 and 12, 17th rank in 18, 19, and 16 thereafter. Declining ratio of capital outlay to capital expenditure. 57.23% in 11-12, 34.23% in 18-19, 17th rank among 17 major states. It means the lowest among the 17 major states. And capital expenditure as per GSDP, it was 0.7%, whereas in major states, the average was 2.5% in 2018-19. Ever increasing public debt as GSDP ratio from rupees 7,100 in 1991, 37% of the GSDP. Now we have 3,43,626 crore, 46% of 47% of GSDP. Now, if we look at annual average debt, it increased during 2006-7 and during 2006 2001 to 2006-7 it increased by 6,389 crore, and in the next 5 years it increased during 2011-12 it to 2021-22 it increased by 19,867 crore per annum. And now during 2022-24, during the present government regimes, it increased by 30,927 crores. And paradoxically, Punjab held first rank in debt GSDP ratio and per capita debt in 2011-12 and 2018-19 among 17 major states. Per capita fiscal deficit, second rank in 2011-12 and sixth rank in 2018-19. Per capita revenue deficit, first rank in 2011-12 and 2018-19 among 12th rank and in 2018-19 among 17 major states. Punjab's Fiscal Responsibility and Budgetary Amendment Bill 2023. This is very interesting. This allows government to exceed the prescribed FD-GST ratio, albeit under certain special conditions. Total revenue receipts as percent of GDP in 2018-19, Punjab had about 12%, whereas major states had 13.4%. So there is clear undermobilization of potential financial resources to the tune of 28,500 crore, which is there in the 6th Finance Commission of the Government of Punjab, which concluded in 2022. So, and injudicious financial management and expenditure, major share of revenue goes to the committed expenditure, including lion's share of interest payments and electricity subsidy. Next, please. Now, what needs to be done to resurrect the Punjab economy? People might question the hard word which I use to resurrect Punjab economy. There is need to diagnose and address the socio-cultural and politico-economic ills instead of living in denial mode, break ice on policy paralysis, and push states' orientation towards development with a clear message that Punjab means business, create conducive investment and development climate through compatible socio-economic policies and politico-bureaucratic commitment, good governance, and curb rampant corruption so as to accelerate the growth and development. Mobilize additional financial resources to its fullest potential and follow judicious fiscal management policy, judicious use of public funds, and rationalize subsidies. Have a roadmap to bring debt within prescribed limits, increase capital expenditure, and also encourage private investment with a focus on growth, development, and employment. Have a suitable agricultural policy. Interestingly, Punjab doesn't have any agricultural policy, though we claim that we are preeminently an agrarian economy. So there is need to bring a suitable agricultural policy with a clear focus on processing of agri-produce, preferably in cooperative development mode. Then we need to have SWOT analysis of the state so as to generate decent employment opportunity addressing youth's aspirations. I would like to share with you that Punjab's foremost strength are agriculture, soil, water, and human capital, which needs to be strengthened. And of course, the major constraint, which Dr. Upinder has also pointed out, we are having a border which was never normal. I have done substantial work on this, which was never normal, and Punjab has been a victim of this normal relations between India and Pakistan. And since 2019, Wagah border trade is also closed. There is a trade embargo, and rest of India is being having proximity to the seaports. Is though officially the trade is closed, but they are having access to Pakistan's via third countries, whereas for Punjab it's not cost effective. Then have a suitable industrial policy with a main focus on MSME sector and strengthen rural non-farm sector so as to generate additional employment opportunities, because Punjab doesn't have much larger industrial sector, but MSME is the backbone of Punjab's industrial sector. Then have a clear view of the changing development scenario based on more and more automation and artificial intelligence. Marketing intelligence system must be in place. Next, and the last one. Now, strengthen public delivery of education and health so as to make them accessible and affordable to the larger sections of the people. Now, here I would like to share that public debt and private debt are closely correlated. When public debt is rising, government's capacity to intervene and govern and give the right type of education and health system diminishes, and people are perforce have to go to the private education sector and the private health sector, which increases their debt burden or expenses. Then there is need to address the drug menace with a clear focus on curbing demand and supply, de-addiction and rehabilitation, and address the fundamental reasons behind drug addiction and abuse. Have a real-time data on emigration of the Punjabi youth and the impending socio-cultural and politico-economic implications thereof so as to formulate commensurate policies. I'm quite sure that Punjab government doesn't have the real-time data on emigration in Punjab. Have a normal functional relations with the center so as to garner optimum gains from the centrally sponsored schemes. And this is very, very important. Dr. Upinder has also mentioned it. And then launch a sustained movement for strengthening state autonomy and federal structure along with the like-minded political parties. And Upinder obliquely referred to the government, central government's transfer to states. In fact, central government has evolved an other view, cess and surcharges. That is very, very high, which is not in the divisible pool. So I think states must ask for bringing in cess and surcharge levied by the government of India in the divisible pool. And last but not the create a strong liaison with an NRIs for investment in the state, and Punjab political leadership and parties must lobby for opening trade through ICP Atari and further expanding trade through this route. Last but not the least, restore political credibility by bridging trust deficiency and by generating a healthy political competition rather than focusing on irrational competitive political populism. Political leadership must work in larger interest of Punjab's development rather than merely upholding their vested interests. Next, please. Thank you very much for giving me patience hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Ghuman. Thank you very much. You have really outlined most of the problems of Punjab economy over the last century and a half. But the key word here is that you have referred to the denial mode. So the problem with the government of Punjab, again, across party lines, has been that the governments have been in denial mode. They have not ever tried to acknowledge that there is a problem in Punjab and it is deteriorating by the day. So political will is very, very important to deal with the present situation in Punjab, which is extremely critical. Now I request Dr. Sandeep Kaur from Central University of Bathinda to share her thoughts with us on Punjab.
Thank you, Chair, Professor Upinder Sahwney. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. And my PPT is visible?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Professor Upinder Sahwney. And thank you, Dr. Charan Singh, for inviting me in this session. My respected Ranjit Ghuman sir and other participants. Today, I want to draw attention on understanding environmental degradation in agriculture of Punjab. As everybody is aware of that, Punjab known as a leading agriculture state in India, especially during Green Revolution, now facing agrarian and climatic crises, and that is also resultant environmental degradation in agriculture needs an essential transformation. There are a lot of issues in environmental degradation in agriculture, but here I want to focus on only few issues where we need immediate policy so that we can think about our water, as Professor Ghuman sir has said that water, human capital and soil are important observations that has to be taken care of in Punjab. The crop failure, which has happened in 2016 and 2020, cotton crop failure, which has led to the transformation of agriculture from cotton to paddy, even in the Malwa region of Punjab, has raised many questions. Similarly, agrarian land acquisition ongoing at a very fast pace of extraction of a groundwater and excessive use of pesticides put many social economic externalities in the Punjab in a questionable. If we look into the Punjab's stance on a crop insurance, though Punjab is an agrarian state, but at present, Punjab doesn't have any crop insurance plan. And the recent floods and the farmer suicides due to resultant loss of the floods have put again question to Punjab's stance on crop insurance. We are well aware of that to become power supply state. In 2008, Punjab government acquired 2,100 acres of land from 4 villages of Mansa and 806 acres in Gobindpura village. When this land was acquired, 2 thermal power was already in a running picture, and 2 had already more proposed, including these thermal power plant. That is a big question on the development pattern of a Punjab when we want to become in the race of a development. Power surplus agrarian land acquisition has been planned to acquire for the name of power surplus or vis-a-vis development. This land acquisition, the Talwandi Sabo plant, which is at present running position, many farmers had agitated for this because that was agrarian land acquisition, very fertile land. Many farmers couldn't get the compensation at market value and could not use compensation as a productive purpose. And moreover, during that movement, because the farmers which got the compensation could purchase tube wells very easily, because during that movement, Punjab agriculture systems opens up the irrigation infrastructure very easily. That's why they can enhance the irrigation capabilities. And what has happened? This Talwandi Sabo place shifted from cotton to paddy. And if you look into the area of this thermal power plant, the fertility of the land is in danger. At present, 80-kilometer arena of acquired land, one Lehra Mohabbat thermal power plant is also running in thermal power plant. Since I am also living in the Bathinda, in the 80-kilometer arena, the temperature or many other climate parameters are at a very state level. And the next question comes, the Guru Nanak Dev thermal power plant, which has established the oldest thermal power plant. When 2018, it was closed. More than 600 crore rupees have been put for its renovation, and after 3 years, that's renovation expenditure is in vain because it was closed. It was, and which was already in a pipeline. One side, Punjab is facing financial crisis, and another side, the development expenditure for the generation of new employment opportunities is also required. But concern is whether we are putting efforts for human capital. The displacement has happened due to this thermal power plant. The land dispossessors couldn't able to use the compensation for productive purposes because at that moment the productive opportunities were not available. You can see from the slides, they made investment for social ceremonies, furnished house, purchased car, but couldn't able to do some new business. If on the same land, if on the same aspects, some livelihood opportunities like agribusiness activities will be offered, the picture will be more good. Another environmental degradation in agriculture, I want to put the light on groundwater depletion situation. Everybody is aware of that. Punjab's groundwater stage of development is 165.99%, which is more than enough. And among all 23 districts, Sangru's picture is very pity level, nearly 313%, which I have seen when I have done in 2016 supervision of MPhil, that is just 266%. Near about 20 districts have groundwater depletion more than 100%, and more than 78% are in the overexploited blocks. We are well aware of that. The wheat paddy cropping pattern system, due to minimum spot price and bear market, has put this groundwater depletion situation in critical position. Moreover, the tube wells and mechanization of agriculture has increased at a very faster level. Now the water depth is too heavy that couldn't able to mechanize even the farmers' returns. Therefore, they are putting too much investment to put more pipes to deepen the tube wells to get more water. Though we have, Punjab government is proposing maize and sugarcane cropping system pattern through various policies, but the question is whether the policies or our minimum spot price or farmers assured markets give the alternative for this. Here I want to mention, before telling direct seeding rice technology, let's look into the trends. You can see from these trends that Punjab's situation among all states is a very pity position. And in a stage of groundwater extraction in 2004, 145 to in 2022, 165.99. And in district by stage of groundwater depletion, Among all 23 districts, only 3 or 4 districts have a position less than 100, but more than districts have a position of more than 100. Policymakers have given the alternative direct seeding rice technology because it consumes less water. This has been initiated especially during COVID-19 when Punjab was facing a labor crunch because many laborers from UP, Bihar, and many other states were migrated to their own states due to Corona. And that's why many farmers initiated this technology. But concern is they couldn't possess this technology because the wheat growth is too intensive. They couldn't get the production of paddy at that level. At that moment, direct seeding rice machines are not properly available. Though farmers have taken their own initiative to put DSR technology through their machines, but they couldn't able to do that. That's why they hired the machines. Everybody is well aware of paddy stubble problem. Here, when farmers are not assured for their returns through DSR technology, they put their fields both technologies, traditional technology also and DSR technology also. And that's why the paddy stubble, burning of paddy stubble solution cannot be wiped out through this because they get the weight for this stubble once traditional paddy also can get. And you can see from this machinery that DSR machine is this. Our farmers are very much innovative. They enhance their machines to get the drilling into that. The question here again comes, once we initiated the process for some policy or for some recovery, but we couldn't in last. The Punjab's pity position is that they took the initiative, but they couldn't get able to in touch with the problems and challenges for that. Because it is very tough for farmers to get put into the picture of DSR technology. There are many reports from Punjab Agriculture University also where it has been mentioned that DSR technology couldn't be popular among farmers. During COVID-19, this is a big opportunity for Punjab that can be initiated. Though still farmers, many farmers are not adopted, but some large farmers who have a large fields, they try to opt it over the Punjab. Another problem is there, which Professor Ghuman sir also talked about, that pesticide use in Punjab. After the Green Revolution, the use of pesticides has tremendously increased. In 2021-22, the pesticides consumption 5,376 metric ton. Many scientific studies have proved that there are a number of issues related with the pesticide use. The cancer, reproductive abnormalities, neurological and behavioral disorders, which has not been taken stance at a large level in Punjab due to pesticide use. As I already mentioned that in groundwater, when more tube wells, more pipes, farmers' returns on paddy has decreased. Similarly, in genetically modified crop, cotton, using pesticides, now it has become resistant, means more pesticide usage is decreasing their income. And even then also Malwa region, when whitefly attack and pink bollworm attack has happened, cotton crop failure has come into the picture. And at a large level, farmer suicides, Bathinda, Mansa, and many other Malwa regions has happened in 2016 and 20. And at that place, when Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, center level, that policy has not been adopted by Punjab till now, though it has been in a great discussion in the last few years. And moreover, story doesn't come to an end when we see that, and when we find from the farmers, they are using banned pesticides. And due to pesticides, we are aware of that endosulfan, glyphosate, pesticides have put a situation in a very bad position when farmers do face the pesticide poisoning and cancer and premature hair growing and many other behavioral disorders, which I have already talked. My special concern in this presentation, Punjab being the agrarian states couldn't adopt till now any insurance policy, though it was there in the late 80s, but at present, Punjab's farmers are not having any crop insurance policy. Due to that also, environmental degradation in agriculture, we can look into alarming situation when the cotton area is also shifting to paddy. There's no doubt that we have a well irrigation infrastructure, therefore farmers are shifting to paddy, but this is also one of the reasons where we couldn't understand the fertility of soil, and the farmers' concern towards paddy is a big question mark. There are the major reasons for non-adoption of Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. This scheme was launched in 2016, and because Punjab is a clear-cut, a developed agrarian state, and irrigation is very secured, therefore 1,500 per acre premium for Punjab, it's a burden. Therefore, it has refused. And now in last 2 years of discussion, which I was finding from various newspapers, though I couldn't able to find any report, they are taking that because it consider whole village as a unit. And crop failure comes in some portions of village like whitefly and pink bollworm. Only 1 or 2 villages attacked fully. But just see the picture in floods when whole villages suffered. If Punjab takes a stand still, Punjab shouldn't adopt Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. At least Punjab think about its own crop insurance policy, state-owned policy. Why so? The relief packages during 640 crore and 416 crore in 15, 16 and 21, 22, which has been offered to compensate the farmer who faced a cotton crop failure, could be subsidized premium and protect farmer against crop losses. Similarly, during flood affected districts, rupees 186 crore as a flood relief to compensate. And if these packages have been redirected to subsidize premium for any policy, maybe situation is again something different. there are a lot of other issues also in environmental degradation, which I also want to make a little glance, like agroforestry. It has been observed that in view of getting more income, poplar and eucalyptus are grown by the farmers, and which is on that area which is already depleted area and where paddy is also growing. This makes the situation more vulnerable. Though government is trying to adopt many measures, recently revamped crop diversification, 17,000 from paddy to alternate crops has been offered. Maybe we'll give another picture in coming years or decade. But the concern is our human capital. There's a need to sustainable livelihood opportunities so that our international migration, where our human labor are facing so many difficulties and coming again back to Punjab, put a question on our Punjab's money and Punjab's human labor. Moreover, need to invest in climate smart technology. Let's take the example of direct seed rice. If weed investigation and proper knowledge given to the farmer communities, the popularity of DSR can be enhanced. As Professor Upinder has already mentioned that in a finance commission, there's a need to understand proper budget. And here again, my concern is special budget for environmental sustainability in agriculture. If we are much worried about agrarian distress, and we are also aware of that this environmental distress is also putting at a large level in the economy and particularly in agriculture sector. And here special crop insurance package, if full-fledged crop insurance policy state cannot offer, or at least with some mechanism, some private holders for certain crops, special crop insurance package, or even the central government scheme Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana can be again thought of, so that another crop failure or another any climatic crisis can be taken into another situation rather than a relief package. And for innovation model of climate change is also required to understand. The recent economic survey, it has mentioned that we have a higher yield of cereals, pulses and oilseeds. That is giving a good direction towards our diversification, because our paddy and wheat productivity has stagnated, as economic survey have mentioned. Therefore, the scene should be clear towards other diversified crops. And here, when our university and our research institutions have to make international collaboration so that our skilled human labor can enhance their human skills towards agriculture and enhance their climate change adaptation strategies, and many other opportunities can be enhanced. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Sandeep. You have provided an insight into various aspects of Punjab agriculture and taken up some very technical aspects of the sector in a detailed manner. There is no doubt that environmental issues are very real, and they need to be dealt with faster than any other issues. But there are certain problems which are there both on the part of the government of Punjab as well as the central government, that they are not being adequately addressed. So having had two very good presentations on Punjab, I would just like to wind up by saying that it seems that the major problem in Punjab at the moment is that of governance, and the responsibility of the government of Punjab is, of course, paramount. But the government of India cannot absolve itself from the responsibility of neglecting a state which has fed the nation and protected the nation as well from time to time. And I very firmly and strongly believe that if any state is weak in a federation, the federation cannot grow as fast as it would like to. So I would really appreciate not only the efforts of the government of Punjab towards the developmental aspect, because they are in a mode of competitive populism. The political parties in Punjab are in a mode of competitive populism rather than competitive development. So that really needs to be turned around. But so far, people like us and notably Professor Ghuman, who has been writing very regularly in popular press, have failed to garner any kind of change of mind of the government of Punjab. But at the same time, the government of India also must take a very, very strong note of the situation in Punjab and address it at the earliest, because it's very risky for a fragile state to be a border state, even though it is fiscally fragile at the moment, because people have been protecting the nation personally and supplementing the efforts of the army. I would request Dr. Charan Singh to take over the question and answer part of this discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, professors. And it seems Charan, are you there? Because Charan, yeah,
Yes, you
he's
take
there. So okay.
You take it. Dr. Vishendas, you please take care.
Yeah, Charan is traveling. Let me briefly say I am Ashok Vishwanath, though mostly people know, but still some might not know. I am the EGROW Foundation's founder director. So it is a wonderful exposition by all the panelists, led by Professor Upinder ji. She chaired, but I was listening to all the panelists, which gave a very different perspective. And let us find out if anybody wants to raise any question. There is a one question for Professor Ghuman from economical point of view, in who was the best. I think this is a slightly political. I would not like to discuss who was the chief minister, best chief minister. That is not, because we let me take this discussion is academic and policy oriented. So let us resist the temptation of asking politically colored question. My request to all the our audience, esteemed audience, so do not sway it away, because we would not like this to. Hello. Achha, I would not like to get involved in this political flavor. Anyway, so if we do away things. Because mostly people, the audience has welcome and they have liked the exposition by our esteemed panelists. So there is hardly any question except on the drug and abuse, how current government is working with the drug and abuse, and also must be address. So any of the panelists can throw some light on this. This is one question, and if I filter out the political flavored color questions, I find this is one on the drugs. And there is another from Punjab. This gives me context how Punjab without hard and thank you, speakers, for a very insightful session. I wanted to ask that in addition to governance and policy, does the fact that so many people are immigrating to Canada from Punjab be a big cause of poor policy in Punjab, with most family having children abroad? as the focus of Punjabis shifted from working hard and having a strong economy to work hard to immigrate. So these are the few questions, but this is the panel, our audience. But one question from my side. So Punjab had been the bread earner in some sense when we were from ship to mouth, and they have provided the pioneering uh, uh, base to the whole country to have some kind of its semblance of Atmanirbhar. The full we have moved from next food importing country to self sufficiency to the net exporting country, and Punjab used to be the pioneering in per capita income. Now this is not there, and if you go to Bombay or big cities, you find many people from Punjab suffering from cancer, and some people which is very painful. But still, the fact is that many people describe Punjab of today as the cancer capital, which gives me a lot of pain, and maybe it's fact. So our friends from the esteemed panelists can throw on uh, light on these issues very briefly, and I will really appreciate. So any of the panelists can take up on agriculture, because agriculture is the backbone of India's economy. Yes.
Professor Vishandas, may I take up the drug issue?
Yeah, please carry on. Yes.
I did a comprehensive study on this issue when I was at CRID Chandigarh.
Right.
This was study of 5 states: Punjab, Haryana, Himachal, Rajasthan, J&K.
Right.
And that book is now published by Routledge this year.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, this drug menace in Punjab
Mm-hmm.
has been the issue of every election for the last, say, 15 years.
Right.
And the issue is very complex and systemic.
Mm-hmm.
And there is supply side and there is demand side.
Demand side.
Both needs to be addressed, and our study have brought that neither the demand side nor the supply side have been dealt with the way they should have dealt with. International factors are there, domestic factors are there, and the fundamental reasons behind drug addiction and abuse we have identified in our study have not been addressed. And I'm of the opinion, of the firm view, that as long as these fundamental issues are not addressed, which are behind the drug addiction and abuse in Punjab and other states, it will not be addressed. Second thing, which very prominently came up in our study, that was a nexus between political leaders, police, and smugglers. When I say political leaders, it doesn't mean that all the political leaders, but
Right.
across the parties, there is nexus. It has come out of our study. They have been patronizing directly or indirectly, and there is support from police officers. Again, when I say support from police officers, it doesn't mean that all police officers. And now, after our study came, it has come to the fore also. So what is needed is to deal with the management and supply side with firm hand and address the fundamental issues behind all the problem, entire problem. Second is there is need to check the new entry in drug addiction, and all those who are already drug addicted, there is need to rehabilitate, need to have drug de-addictions and then rehabilitate. Otherwise, it is not possible. With the permission, I will take 1 minute on agriculture.
Right.
Everybody knows that Punjab has contributed to the food security of the country. And but
Right.
since 2010, the central government is revising, I would say, sermonizing Punjab without bringing in the institutional framework or the enabling policy environment. And this issue came up in 2017 also, but so far it did not solve any problem because center's policies are assuming that as if it is the Punjab farmer who promoted paddy. It's not. The paddy was promoted by the enabling environment by policy regime, and my submission here is that this should be addressed by policy regime, and center must do hand holding of Punjab government and Punjab farmers, and Punjab government must also have a focus on it. Another question which I was seeing by Professor Sukhpal, why institutional reforms have not been factored in by any panelist. I think this is very, very important, and institutions play a significant roles, and they set the rules of the game. And institutional deterioration and non-place of institutions in place is a serious drag. And perhaps I would sum up this with policy paralysis. Punjab is beleaguered by policy paralysis, and it needs to be fixed. Thank you.
I would
Thank
just
you.
like to add, I would just
Yes.
like to add one sentence here, that insofar as the institutions are concerned, we all know, and so does Professor Sukhpal Singh as well, that Punjab has had very strong institutions in the past. But all that we are saying today is that there has been a massive deterioration and there is no political will to bring about any kind of reform. And those are the major governance issues. And governance or policy paralysis, like Professor Ghuman rightly said, is what is the biggest problem in Punjab at the moment. So if they come out of the denial mode, if the polity of Punjab comes out of the denial mode, then I think a lot of issues can be addressed. But the most important thing is that nobody is paying attention to it. This is being discussed over and over again.
Thank you, Professor Upinder. May I request now Professor Sandeep to tell if Professor Charan, you want to say something? Please
Yes.
carry on.
Yes, I do want to say, because three professors are here. I just want to mention in 2014, 15, 16, I was on the RBI chair at IIM Bangalore. I came so many times to Chandigarh, so many times to Jalandhar, on Jalandhar TV. I'm very sad to tell you that none of the political parties who were in power, and these were different parties at that point of time, gave any seriousness to reforms. So I'm
Yeah.
totally in agreement with Professor Sani that there has been no self-realization that there is so much to do and that it has to come from themselves, always expecting that the center will give them advice, that the center will give them support. Fine, the center is there, but the states have also, at least in the case of Punjab, they have also to exert and say that this is our priority, this is what we want. And rather surprisingly, when I was coming and making that request, I was ridiculed on the TV, live TV. So all I am saying, trying to say is there has to be a blueprint from the academic world and other thinkers in Punjab who should say concrete, like Professor Ghuman has very concretized his proposal today. He says these are the challenges. Look, from 1901, where have I landed? You have reduced me to 14.5% of what I was originally, for whatever reason, geopolitical, international, whatever. I think an attempt needs to be made on those lines with concrete plans and scenarios. If you help us this way, this is where we will be able to deliver. If you help us here, this is what we can deliver. Now, the point which water table Professor Sandeep is making, of course, this was discussed at length in the agriculture session, but I do not want to in any way belittle Professor Sandeep's contribution today. All I'm trying to say is that even in the agriculture sector, depleting water table, enough studies have been done to show that paddy is not for Punjab ground. But there are enough number of lobbies who are saying we can come out with direct seeding. Professor Sukhpal was in one of those sessions. I think Professor Ghuman was also there. We can do direct seeding and we will not give up paddy. So then the point I'm trying to make, the second point I'm trying to make is the policymaker has to provide a 5-year or a 6-year plan to wean away the farmer who was made addictive to paddy, as Professor Ghuman said. Addictive to paddy was not self-created by the Punjab farmer, but forced on the Punjab farmer, seduced. And once the Punjab farmer got addicted to it, now of course there is a challenge. So there probably is a two-way relationship here. The Punjab policymakers, thinkers, academicians, and the central government both have a role, very big role to play. That's all I wanted to mention here. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Vishandas.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Charan. It was very useful intervention and your awareness. And now, finally, may I request Professor Sandeep Kaur to say the final concluding remark, if any.
Yes, sir.
Professor Ashok. Professor Ashok.
Yes.
I'm Ankita. I want to ask one question from Professor Sandeep. Can I?
Yes.
Um,
Please carry on, Ankita.
yeah, ma'am, you are in a very elaborative manner. You discussed about the government role, government-sponsored policy for environmental protection. Like you talk about Prime Minister policy, but we know that in the past, central government itself imposed a green revolution on Punjab economy. They itself imposed chemical fertilizer and the rice cropping pattern on Punjab. So don't you think that being an academician and being a teacher, you also need to see the government policy in a very critical manner? You need to discuss the pro and cons of the government prime minister sponsored policies, because we know that in the past center sponsored policies are not going in the favor of Punjab economy. But throughout your lecture you talk about center sponsored environmental policies in a very positive manner.
Yes. Ankita, hello.
Yes, yes.
Ankita, thank you very much for your question. Yes, we know that Punjab has contributed a lot during Green Revolution, and paddy and pesticide use is also the contributor of that side. The Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, which I have already mentioned over there, Punjab has not adopted it. And the concern is, I just mentioned that because I cannot see critical ground in the Punjab until it will adopt it. Yes, I have seen it from Haryana perspective, which I haven't mentioned over there, that Haryana's farmers are not willing to adopt at a very initial level, but because in Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, certain changes have made over the time period, it is not imposed on that. Means it depends on willingness, and that's why slowly it has come into the line of farmers. And if I will look into the very critical perspective of Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana in Punjab, I have to look into the picture when Punjab will adopt it. Here my concern is what's the state's stance on crop insurance policy, because Punjab even doesn't have own insurance plan. Earlier, when Green Revolution was there, Punjab has own stance on a crop insurance plan, that during that moment, Punjab was not dependent on central plan. If you think that I have to look into the critical perspective, certain changes which is required to mention, that only I can mention when Punjab will implement it. And that's why I haven't put all the picture of the crop insurance policy. I think.
Yes.
Can I take a second?
Yes.
I am Matthew Girin from Mahatma Gandhi University of Kerala. I really enjoyed all the paper presentations. In fact, I thought that you are speaking about Kerala also. So the more or less we have the center state financial relations point of view, similar problems. Anyway, I limit my questions to two. One is, already we had a lot of agitations on the question of minimum support price. I did not find much discussion on this issue because the farmers, including in Punjab, were agitating on this question. And M.S. Swaminathan's commission's report, it was well intended, but unfortunately, we did not find it is in practice. The second question, I think there is a broad lacuna in our economic policies with regard to agriculture, because we are having policies on agriculture, on industries, and the like. I personally think that unless we have an integrated policy, grow-based industries, we cannot. That is what is happening now is corporatization of agriculture, and the farmers have to produce raw materials or inputs for corporates, and they dictate prices. So this is a sorry state of affairs. I stop here. Again, thank you very much for the brilliant exposition.
No, but
Thank
I
you.
must mention on MSP, we had a dedicated webinar which Dr. Ashok Vishandas chaired on February 24th. I would request on February 23. So I would request Mr. Kurian to have a look at it. And on July 5, we had a dedicated webinar on Punjab agriculture, where again we had discussed about at length on July 5 about the MSP, guaranteed MSP. So
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
To MSP.
I'd like to supplement Dr. Charan Singh that for Professor Kurian's information, this was not a session specified to a particular sector. This was the macro analysis of Punjab as a whole. So Professor Charan Singh is right when he says that this issue was discussed at length, but still I feel this MSP issue is important and should be dealt with in detail. Thank you.
Yeah. So here we come to the end, and I must thank our Professor Charan Singh, who has conceptualized all these webinars. He had been holding it for more than 220 such webinars without even a single break. So, and he's very master strategist in organizing, and we have brought so many, even the Nobel laureate on this webinar. And I thank you all the panelists and the chair, starting with Professor Upinder Sahwney. She has always been supporting this EGROW Foundation, and in all capacity, wherever she can chip in, she does it. Professor Ghuman and Ranjit Singh and Professor Sandeep, Kaur, and all the our audience, whosoever asked the question, and some people asked separately. So I am on behalf of EGROW Foundation and on my own behalf, I thank you, each one of you, for making it such a lively and academically rich discussion, which I am sure is very useful. We will release the video recording in a curated manner by tomorrow afternoon. Anybody can see. It will be available on our website. Now
Ashok,
we
sir?
will be.
So,
Yes.
I'm Deepjot here. I wanted to mention something. So I have worked, I'm a health policy
What?
consultant. Health policy
Sorry?
consultant with the Niti Aayog. And I wanted to mention, I've heard comments, and these are very good comments on agriculture. And I really liked Ankita's point that
No,
on
no,
the
you
health.
don't have to come. No, just 1 second. We are not here to comment on the comments of somebody.
Right. I wanted to mention.
In case you have any specific question, please be free. You are Deepjot.
So I don't have a question. I wanted to just mention that it is an
Yes, yes.
important observation that although the central schemes are and have been focusing on pesticides and green revolution, they critically by some can be looked at whether Punjab has performed well or not under them, as Professor Sandeep's paper also calls out. But it is important to note that now the government is looking at PLI schemes, which are production linked incentive schemes focused on organic millets and ragis. And government is now trying to move into this sector for food processing. So this is the next segment that the government is looking at, which can give a boost to agriculture. Although it is more focused towards the private industries, it is something that all the state governments will also look into how they can incorporate this in their agriculture systems. I just wanted to mention that the government is thinking from different perspective. They know how pesticides and fertilizers have impacted, and now they are trying to bring about a change in the next policy circles.
Well, Deepjot, I would like to add here that the question of food security cannot be addressed by millets and ragi, etc. So
Okay.
we have to look at the larger interest of the nation, and that is what Punjab is suffering from.
I see. Okay, ma'am.
And,
And
and,
with the permission of Professor Ashok, I would like to quickly add that rest of the nation must understand that
Absolutely.
even if substantial area is shifted from under paddy, country's food security will be under threat.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
must be noted, underlined, and I think Professor Charan Singh has said that window period must be there, and we must have a policy input how much shift we want to how much area from paddy we want to shift. So it's not that easy. Still, rest of India is having but less than 50% irrigation intensity. It must be noted, and there is wide gap between the yield of Punjab's
And the
food
rest of
crops and other crops, and
yeah.
food security. And I must underline at the same time,
Noted, sir.
the,
Noted.
the central government is asking every year to increase production of wheat and paddy. But at the same time, it's being said that we have glut with the buffer stocks and all that. I think it needs to be synchronized in a very, very sensitive manner. Thank you.
Noted,
That's
sir.
a
yeah,
Noted.
thank
separate.
you. Yeah, Deepjot, you raised and you flagged very interesting issue which are very relevant. And before I wind up, I want to let all our audience know millet is very important. It can withstand the water stress, but we have to remember one thing: it constitutes less than 5% our food grain production.
Yeah.
So that thing has to be seen compared to 328 million tons food grain production in the country. The millet accounts for only 16, 17 million. So that's less. So anyway, there are certain issues because I can say with pride that I have soiled my hands in the agriculture, and those certain things. The more I deal with it, the more I get the feeling that I know a little too little about the agriculture. Anyway, this is the very point. So let me express my sincere thanks once again before we wind up to all the panelists, all the audience who are very excited. I know how many people have done a hard work on agriculture. Some as practitioners, some as academician, but everybody is interested, and we have been dealing with the Punjab for last 5 issue. This is a really, it requires a lot of deeper analysis and dissection by peel and layer by layer what is happening. At one time it was a very leading light for the nation, and it has gone down in performance of the economy, because at the end of the round all is important. It doesn't matter, but do you get the higher level of income? Because higher production does not necessarily lead to higher income. If the farmers are working hard and their income is not rising, it means there is something problem with us. We have seen that, and there are certain issues. So the physical quantity increase does not necessarily ensure higher income, and there are many issues. But I must tell, because I have extensively traveled all parts of the country where there is some significant production of the agriculture, because I served in agriculture ministry. I have talked to many farmers. I have recorded one-to-one discussion with the farmer, actual farmer, the small, marginal, large, but across the country. So I have certain feel of the country, and I get pain when they toil their sweat and still they do not get the 2 square meal. So those are the issue which, and I must tell, the farmers of India, especially Punjab, they are they may be poor, resource poor, not otherwise poor, but but they are very intelligent. And I don't know what is happening. So we can have any other slot for discussion. Let me, before I wind up, we have said that today's discussion will be video record. I mean, will be the video recording will be released tomorrow afternoon, and thereafter in the next week, from next week, the 5 weeks from today, we will take up the top 5 states which are performing from starting the next week, that is 23rd, from Telangana, followed by Karnataka, then we'll have Haryana, then Tamil Nadu, Gujarat. Those are the top 5. Why they are doing better, and they were not doing as better about 30 years ago, or when the Punjab was a rising star, it was a pole. So we have to dissect and analyze what is happening, because it's not, because if I am suffering, God forbid, from something, when I go to doctor, he will ask me to get these tests done. So first thing is to diagnose, then he will prescribe. Similarly, we have to diagnose, had some test, and then once we know the what is ailing the state, or what is propelling the state to perform better, then we can take a lead, and that is the way we can go forward. So with these few words, once again, thanks to each of these panelists, Professor Upinder, Professor Ghuman, Professor Sandeep, Kaur, and all the panelists, and Professor Charan Singh. He's a wonderful organizer, wonderful academician, wonderful practitioner. Even he had such a big responsibility on his shoulder, still he never misses this, and that is so inspiring. So once again, I thoroughly enjoyed each one of the averment, the presentation, and I found each one of you so persuasive that it really touches. Yes, what you are saying makes sense to me. So with these words, I thank you once again, and all my best wishes for the very, very bright and enterprising weekend, a very joyful weekend. Let us meet on the next week with Telangana and why it is performing well. So with this, we end this meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Vishnadas.
Thank you.
Thank you.